A while back, I had read about a couple technologies, and I wanted to give them a chance to try them out. And I made this little application. It's a kind of this app to make kind of interactive educational content lessons. The idea is that you have multiple sections here on the left. I just added a new section, and then once I have a section, I go in here and I can start plopping down things. I got a few different controls implemented, so I have like fraction bars, and I'll throw a couple of those down, and like little fraction circle guys. I think that'll be enough for this little demo. Um, but the idea is, you click on them, you can set properties on them, stuff like that. So that had 5 segments. We'll give these 10. But then there's also other controls you can have for interactivity. So I'm going to go in here to the math and pick out the slider and say this slider goes from, say, 0 to 5. Now, right now, obviously there's nothing hooked up to make the slider change these when it's moved by the student. So there's this logic pane here, and this is using the Google Blockly library. It's like a block programming library. My kid uses this bunch, this product called Scratch by MIT, and there's like a game maker and stuff. But this is like a library that just lets you make that sort of interface. So what you do is you pull out a block and say whenever a component changes, and then the components I just had there are all listed here. So I'm going to take fraction bar 1 and fraction pi 1. So whenever a component changes, I'm going to do something to those. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the filled segments to whatever the slider is set for. And then for the other two, I'm going to do kind of a similar thing, fraction bar 2, fraction pi 2. But here, since those were tenths instead of fifths, I want to multiply. So I'm just going to pull out some math operations here. So now instead of just setting it, we're going to set it to something times 2. I'll just type 2 into these. And then I need to get my slider values out. Slider and slider. So this is, just a little bit of logic. And what happens here is this gets transformed into a Lua-based program. And then I have a Lua interpreter inside the JavaScript application that will, run the program as events come in and update the UI. So Blockly was one technology. The Lua interpreter was another technology that I wanted to play with. Obviously, this is all just, the visuals are all just React components and stuff. So I built this in a way where there's an authoring and a delivery website, just with the idea that, it's nice to separate those sometimes. But here it is running. I can see my fractions, and they're all equivalent right now. And I've got 1/5 and 2/10. And as I move the slider around, it moves around. And then the one other nice thing I kind of did about it, back to the authoring, if you have multiple sections here, and you should probably go and name them and stuff. But as you have multiple sections, give that a second to autosave, reload the delivery. You could be checking the answers and stuff in that Lua code, and I want to have helpers and stuff. But as you navigate between the sections, the old ones stay on the screen, so you can always kind of refer back to what you were working on and kind of keep progressing through the lesson. So this was all a big experiment. I wanted to try some new technologies, and that's where I ended up.